Hello, how are you? It's Friday. How are you? I'm going to pull up some things on my other screen here. I'm going to give the algorithm a minute to get your attention and join me today because today we're going to talk about being fired or maybe just not being selected. How's that? That's an easier way to say it, huh? Either way, it hurts, doesn't it? We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about all the different scenarios that have possibly happened in our world. And we're going to talk about how to handle it, how to have a good mindset, and how to, handle it so you don't sabotage yourself for future business from that individual. Okay. That's what we're going to talk about today. All right. How to handle that situation where maybe you were not selected. That's usually what it is. You were not selected. Let's not talk. I use just you're fired because it's an attention grabber, right? How are you? If you're joining me, say hello. Today we're going to talk about not getting the listing or not getting the deal. All right. We all have seen those posts and our larger collaboration groups where someone has done somebody wrong and a family member or a best friend has chosen another realtor, and everyone who makes those posts, I think, feels so distraught. They feel so distraught because they lost that business. They were so depending on that business. That was their first mistake. They were depending on that business that wasn't actually there yet. Okay. So let me just answer this text real quick. So that's usually what it boils down to, doesn't it? And I'm sorry, I had to answer that text there. So I'm gonna tell you about a couple of scenarios where that has occurred to me, and I'm gonna tell you how I handled it. All right, and then maybe hopefully the next time that happens to you, because it will. All right, it will. I mean, I have a 23-year pipeline essentially, and I feel like I nurture my clients better than just about anybody on the planet. But still, occasionally, a deal can fall through the cracks. It just can. And the way you handle it emotionally is going to speak volumes for your soul. Trust me on that one. Okay. Let's talk about a few situations. I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go to the way back machine. And when we were first in business, our first couple of years in business, you're all wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? You're ready to take on the world. You're ready to build an empire. And the first stab in the back always seems to be family, doesn't it? It just does. Okay. You expect their support, but you know, you can't always get it, right? That just happens where a family member is going to choose another realtor. Okay, that'll happen. And I'm going to tell you the way I handle it, and I'm going to recommend that you don't handle it this way. Okay? Way back when we first started our business over 20 years ago, we helped Jake's brother. First, we helped him buy. Let's see. No, we were going to give him the listing for free, if I recall correctly. Let's see. Yes. No, we were going to list his home. We worked for the buy. We helped him buy a house, and then we were going to list his home. And of course, when it came time to listing his home, then he wanted a discount. He wanted a 1% listing fee. And this is 20 years ago. So there was assist to sell out there. And that's where he got the idea, that he would get half the commission back because that's what assist to sell was advertising. But we were young and stupid back then, and we were not negotiable. We held our ground, we showed our value, and we ended up, of course, not doing business with him. And we ended up not speaking to him for about 6 years. So that kind of made it really intense at family situations and family events. So as much as it hurts, I'm just going to say when a family member does this, just suck it up. Just suck it up and look the other way because it just isn't worth the family feud, over it. Okay. So I'm going to say that, right? Now, what happens, and I have this philosophy when it comes to family anyway. Okay. I do not, to this day, I've got family in New York that are out of state, out of area. Hell, I've got family right here in Florida that have used a different realtor. More power to them because it just isn't worth the hard feelings when it comes to family over a business transaction. I'm just going to say that right now. And hopefully, if you've been faced with that situation, I hope that it hasn't affected your relationship the way it affected ours with Jake's brother, because I kind of regret that. Not really, because he's still an asshole, but I wished I had handled it differently. Okay. All right. So there's that. Then, and another thing, I have this philosophy, like I started to say about family, right? I've posted this multiple times in response to these posts in the groups. Your family is the only people on the planet that know you from birth to death, essentially. Okay. They either know you from birth or they have known you their entire life, right? They are your closest soul people, right? And that hurts. That hurts the most. But they are the ones that know you the best. They know every mistake you've ever made in your life, every bad decision you've ever made, every screw up you've ever done. Give them grace. Give family grace because they're operating on old assumptions. Okay, they're operating on old information. They're operating on what you used to be and not what you are today. All right. So they have to just see your professionalism shine through, and they may or may not come around. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. Okay. Now, another scenario. I've had it all happen. And I've had one happen just today or last night. And let me tell you how I handled that one. This is, a client that we have been her trusted realtor for probably, I want to say almost 30 years. Our children have gone to school together. Our grown adult children went to school together. That's how long we've known this family. And we've done multiple transactions for them, multiple transactions over the years. We were her realtor. Okay. Well, this happens just the other day, happened about a week ago, as a matter of fact. She was, I'll even share screen. I'm going to share screen and show you the conversation that I had with her. I'll do that in a minute, but let me preempt this for you. But this is the conversation, or this is what happened. Like, I manage this property. It's as an Airbnb. Right? That's how I'm in this transaction already. I manage this property as an Airbnb, and she was at a party with her daughter, and her daughter's best friend and her mom were there at the same party. Her mom is a realtor. The best friend's mom is a realtor. All right. One thing leads to another, and they start talking. Okay. Next thing they know, she's listing her house. She doesn't even know how it happened. That's how fast it happens sometimes. Okay. So I'm going to share screens that I had with you, but this is the way you would want to maybe consider handling the situation. If you've lost a deal, for example, this woman is a friend of ours. She's in our pipeline. We're her realtor, and we just lost this deal. It hurts, but I'm not going to cut them off. I'm not going to be nasty, but I do think it's important that you find a reason and you find a way to talk to them so that you understand why. Okay. Now I'm going to share screen and I'm going to show you the conversation that I've had with her last night. Okay. Here you go. And I went ahead and put my text over here. Okay. Let's get rid of some of this junk mail. All right. So, I found out that she was doing something with the property. Like I said, I manage the property on Airbnb, but my housekeeper said, hey, hey, they called me in to clean it and they're taking pictures. So I said, hey, girl, just thought I'd check in with you and see what's up with the house. Anything yet? Because we had it blocked off while her children were in there for a couple of months. So it was off the market from Airbnb for a little while. And she says, yes, long story short, bear with me while I explain. Of course, my housekeeper told me they were preparing it for pictures and stuff. So this is what she says. Actually got stuck in a situation that I didn't know how to get out of, but Jason and I talked about it and came to a conclusion, and I was going to talk to you about it. We were over at our daughter's talking about it, kids in the Airbnb, and mentioned we were thinking about selling it and potentially getting a larger piece of land. I thought we would have to sell both houses to get approved. Megan's best friend and her mom was also there visiting the new baby, and she's a realtor, and said, I can get you a loan person, right? I get you a loan person. That's how it always starts, doesn't it? It starts with talking about someone's dream and then saying, hey, I got a loan guy. I can get you hooked up with a loan guy. And so I didn't realize that meant going through her for things. Anyhow, she said we would have to sell both houses, and I declined. They got it to where we could only sell mom's house, the Airbnb, and to be able to move into the larger home and sell their existing primary residence. My reason why is so that you could sell it for me. And I didn't want to tell her that. I already felt guilted into letting her use us pre-qualify. I honestly thought she was just helping us see about things. It was just a conversation, and I didn't know how to get out of it. You see, this is how it starts. So, the next time you're angry at someone for using another realtor, I want you to really think about this situation and how it maybe occurred. You will automatically assume that they went shopping, that they sought out another realtor's services. But I promise you, in most cases, it's probably happened just like this. Okay. All right. So I want you to be careful and think about that the next time this all goes down. Right. And so I said, I understand. And I appreciate you keeping me in mind for Blaine Circle. So she told that other realtor, no, I'm not selling Blaine Circle because she wants me to sell it. Okay. I keep telling her the house I want is not even on the market. And she reached out to them. Either case, we were looking at acreage because the county has been on her ass about the slide. They have a blow up slide business there. Okay. And, so are you sure this is something you really want to move forward with if the house you really want isn't even on the market? She said, I keep telling Jason, I don't know how to get out of this. Or tell Julie. He said, just be honest with Julie and she will help. And I said, absolutely, of course. So we ended up chatting. Okay. We ended up chatting today, and, it wouldn't have been the way I handled the situation. We went on with the conversation, and we, I did tell her, I said, what's really upsetting is this realtor has to have known that you have a relationship with another realtor and has intentionally overstepped an ethical boundary. That chaps my hide. So that's what I told her. And she said she didn't know about my mom's house at first. That wasn't until later. And I said it was on Airbnb. I never told her that I was being handled by you. And that's 100% on me. I should have said something, but I thought it was just a pre-approval thing and had nothing to do with her. And that's, I said, that's what should have been done. And you wouldn't have been put in this position, right? So she feels very uncomfortable about how she was railroaded into this relationship or this transaction with this realtor. We're testing the waters on the credit, and it happened in the last 5 days. It just went so fast. I should have said something, but every time a text came through, I responded quickly as I was working. It's totally on me. And I told her, I said, anytime you tell another realtor that you have a relationship with a realtor, they should completely back off. Okay. So that was the rest of the conversation. Now, the reason why you want to hold your own, right, when it comes to this particular scenario is because you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face. Okay. And having a real conversation, not on text with her today. I had a great conversation with her. I counseled her as I have counseled her for the last 30 years or more, right? I still counseled her. I told her, I would have done this differently for you. I would have made sure you had the home that you wanted to purchase before you go liquidating everything that you own for a dream that isn't a reality or can never be brought to fruition. Okay, so that's my piece of advice that I was able to give to her, is that I would have done it differently. But she said specifically, okay, I want you to take care of this particular property. We're going to turn that one into an Airbnb, a short-term rental. And then I want you to help me purchase the new home, which would be $650,000 if this one does not pan out for her. Okay. So, there's still business there. There's still business there. Even though I lost one transaction, there's still business there. And that's the point I want to make to you. And I hope that you remember that the next time it happens to you. I hope that you remember to keep your cool, stay professional. There's no reason to cut people out of your life, because when you cut people out of your life, you're simply cutting off your nose to spite your face. Okay? You truly are. There's no reason to, never talk to another best friend or even a brother-in-law you don't like. But it happens. I understand. Okay. So there, I hope that helps you. And like I said, it's happened. It happens to everyone. Okay. But be the professional. Find out why. And I guarantee you it's going to be because that other agent was a closer. Okay. You got to give them that. They were a closer and they closed the deal. Okay. That's all it is sometimes. Talk to you later. Have a good weekend. Go sell something.